I think probably one of the most important things is to take inventory every day that the person that you are is good enough on this day.
Mm,
And if you can start your day, I always say do the toe test, right? When your toes hit that cold floor in the morning, you have to take your inventory because life can really kick you in the stomach. And so in order to live an inspired life, you have to prepare yourself to be able to take in both good and bad. And that allows you to do good work, to be inspired. If you're not doing a good job of evaluating your inventory, when I say inventory, meaning how full is your emotional well, start your day that way. So when your well is low, I think a lot of people lately have been challenged with that. Your well is low. Let's go out and be intentional about how you can become inspired. And then the days your well is full, be intentional about I need to share the wealth. And when you have people that are in that exchange constantly, they're vibrant, they're not stale in just moving through life. Like, are you on the hamster wheel right now? Because if you are, gosh, get off, take your inventory, and just get a little bit better every day. And if you're already feeling like, oh yeah, I have it, then hand it out.
that's awesome. And, you know, like you were one of the pioneers for me to understand the concept of get 1% better every day. I actually ran with it and I just kind of coined it and just made a thing out of it.
Atta
Yeah.
boy.
And I owe you one of these, by the way. But
Yes.
could you just talk about where you got that from and what that means to you?
Well, I think I first of all, thank you for that nice introduction. I want to share with the listeners what I'm not. I wasn't picked first. I wasn't the biggest, the strongest, the smartest. I read from the special books in elementary school. My high school academic counselor told my parents I would never make it at UCLA. So I'm that person. And I was raised by a military father who really held our whole family accountable around work ethic and just getting a little bit better every day, that you don't have to compare yourself to the All-American or the national champion. You just need to keep moving through your development. And I have a mother that was a nurse. So I had this great balance of rigidity and standards, and standards is a compliment. If someone gives you high standards, that's a compliment, my father used to always say. And then my mom is the one that always caught me doing it right every day. So I never felt pressure to be a champion. I only felt this urgency to get 1% better. And that's doable no matter who you are. I don't care if you're a father, a grandfather, a daughter. Get 1% better is manageable in the COVID environment or in a normal society that's thriving and healthy. Just simply, we know that the brain has this ongoing conversation. You've got a weak voice and you got a strong voice. And that conversation is going on all the time. When you start to reach a level of mastery, it doesn't matter if you're 12, 20, or 40 years old. You've reached a level of mastery when you can actually start hearing the conversation going on. Like, oh yeah, I hear that talk track. That's my weak voice. Oh, I've got my strong voice going. And I always encourage, especially young girls, right, that are playing club, getting into college, that if you can just give that weak voice a name, like let's give her a name. Like my weak voice's name is Margaret. If we could give that weak voice a name, what happens in the brain is the brain now attaches that to another person. So it's no longer you. It's no longer you're not ready. You're not big enough. You're not strong enough. You're not smart enough. It's Margaret. Shush up, Margaret. I got work to do. And I challenge athletes to try this. And I challenge you, one great thing to do right now is just get out a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, put strong voice, weak voice columns. And I want you to write out all your talk tracks on your strong voice and all the talk tracks on your weak voice. And you watch how hard it is for you to write out your strong voice. You know why? We don't have enough prompts for our strong voice. And so this is a great exercise to be able to identify, wow, I can write a ton of things on my weak voice, a ton of things on my weak voice, but my strong voice isn't that great. You don't own confidence. Confidence is really a description of an experience you had after the fact. So you're in the game and you're setting and you're winning and it's over. That's when you talk about, oh my gosh, I felt so confident. But when you're in it, you're not like, oh, I feel so confident, right? But it's not a game for many kids anymore. It's not a chance for them to play. It got so serious. We started throwing them into tournaments, and now they're playing, 30 tournaments a year, and it's just ludicrous what's going on with our players. And so one thing I always ask parents to try to remember, that game day, and remember, game day starts the minute you get in the car together. So when you put your hands on the wheel, 10 and 2, as a parent, I want you to remember, don't speak until spoken to. That's number one. Number two, when you get to the parking lot, don't speak until spoken to. They may want to just be in with their crazy music or texting friends that are literally sitting next to them. That's okay, because it's their day. And then as a parent, when you walk into the gym, I want you to think about, I'm going to the movies. I'm going to the movies. And what do we do when we go in the movies? One, we're sensitive to other people's space. We're quiet. Two, we turn our phone off to focus on the movie. Three, we get on the roller coaster of the movie, but we're not in the movie. So when you're in the movie theater, you're not running up on the stage and shaking the screen like, that's not right. So I want parents to sit down in the bleachers and watch the movie. Get on the emotional ride, but you don't need to be yelling at anybody. You don't need to be shout. Mom and dad that are the coach from row 7, please, shh, that doesn't work. I'm talking to your kids. I'm talking to your coaches. That doesn't work. She doesn't need to know about keep your elbow high when she's in mid-flight. Doesn't work.
Right.
And so if we could just remember as parents, watch the movie, be silent, turn your phone off, watch the movie, get into it, but just yourself.
And what about when stuff bad happens outside of the game? And then you find yourself at practice or in a game, and maybe that stuff is affecting you a little bit. How do you separate that? How do you not let that stuff, it could be family stuff, could be in the news stuff, could be stuff away. How do you let that, stay away and so you can focus on what you got to do?
Well, there's two kinds of off the field pressure that you can be feeling. One is I'm just overwhelmed. I just have a lot going on. It's not serious. It's just you're overwhelmed. And we always used to have markers that the fence at the field was marker number 1. Are you ready to be a teammate? And put yourself number 2. I am. You walk in there and you're like, I'm here now. I'm overwhelmed. And then we will always tell the kids, go ahead, take a couple minutes. If you're not ready yet, that's why we always wanted our players to be early, because we wanted you to have those 3 to 5 minutes to just catch your breath. And I always ask my players to tell me what % you are. So I wanted them to be comfortable saying, Coach, you know what? I'm at 70%. I'm just overwhelmed today. I got you. Can you give me 100% of that 70? That's the healthy, overwhelmed strategy.
Love that.
But then there are people out there, possibly somebody that's even listening right now, that there's a deep voice inside of them that feels dead, that they're not sleeping well. They maybe don't care about their hygiene. Maybe they're faking it and no one knows that they feel dead inside. And then what happens is you end up living 2 lives, and you try to live these 2 lives of misery 24/7, but having a happy face when you see your family, having a happy face when you see your class, having a happy face when you're with your volleyball team.
Right.
And I just encourage those students that you get the sense that people are going to say you're weak sauce, that you're feeling anxiety, you're feeling possibly depression. Do you need to see somebody? People that are champions are very hypersensitive to the environment. They pick up lots of cues. There's a level of anxiety almost all the time. They learned to be very comfortable being uncomfortable. And that, if there's any secret sauce, it's they know how to move through failure very quickly, and they're very comfortable being uncomfortable.
And make adjustments on the fly, right? I feel like that's such a huge part of winning and being a champion, is being able to make those adjustments.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And good talent's flexible. That was another maxim at UCLA, that you're going to tell me that you work your tail off Monday through Friday. You have been playing the game 8, 10, 12 years. You're now 18 years old. So we know you've been playing it for 10, 12 years. And you're now going to tell me that you have anxiety because you're at next level, it's the same game. It's just played a little bit faster, a little bit smaller margin for error. Stop making such a big deal of it. I am a big believer that it's in you. You've already put the work in to be able to enjoy game day. I'm not saying the American, but you certainly earn the right to have peace of mind on celebration day, which is game day.
Love that.